relationships are really hard. Like, it really broke my heart. Like, it's hard, but like, you know, it's just like, because there's so many things that you learn in a relationship, especially when you're really in love and stuff like that. I remember, guys, tell me if this ever happened to you. Like, you be in the bed, right, and you're with your girl, and you're sleeping, and all of a sudden, be like, ow! And she'd be like, I just had a dream where you were sleeping with another woman. And you'd be like, so? She'd be like, explain yourself. Now, anybody else in the world, any other human being, you'd be like, oh, that person has mild schizophrenia, right? But because she's your girl and you love her, you'll be like, oh, well, you know me. That's all you can say. And no dude in the world can get away with that junk. No dude in your dudes. If your friend came up to you, you look at him like he was crazy. He was like, boom, hey man, I had a dream where you were mean to me. You stepped on my foot and you ain't saying nothing. Also, you were holding a baby. And the baby had a very old face. And my teeth fell out, and my feet were heavy, and my father was there. I did not see him, but I knew he was there. Watch your ass. Also, like, with women, like, when I started listening to, like, really listening once the breakup happened, listening to other women, like, I realized, like, every man in this room has a crazy woman story, you know? Like, every man in here is just like, oh, remember Christine? Christine was crazy. Christine was so crazy, remember? When I had my new girl, and Christine comes like, where that bitch at? I was like, Christine, what's going on? I got my new girl, get out of here, Christine. Christine was crazy, right? Christine was crazy. Oh, the memories. You know, and you know, every dude in here has that story. And I was like, why don't women have crazy men stories? Like, why don't women have crazy men stories? I don't really hear them. And then I realized, I was like, oh, it's because if you got a crazy boyfriend, you gon' die. Just something about men, the second they realize they're crazy, it's like, time to kill everything I love. Time to kill it all. It's all coming with me. And you can hear a crazy, like, man story, but they're not fun like crazy women stories at all. Like, they was just like, oh, remember Charlie? Charlie was so crazy. He used to come over and shoot my dog. And it was dead the first time, but he kept shooting it, and then I moved to Florida, and he found me. Now I'm in this wheelchair. Oh, poor made-up lady. I heard some of them. I'm gonna say some outlandish stuff. I heard some of those oohs and ahs. They were like, oh, it's like poor made-up lady. Poor lady that Donald made up can't get up pretend steps. 'Cause she's in a pretend wheelchair. That's what that is. That's all about imagination and stuff like that. Because I'm a very imaginative person. I grew up like in a foster home. Like my parents were foster parents, and we had a lot of foster kids, and kids like go crazy. It's all about imagination and stuff like that. Like they're very emotional beings, you know, kids. I remember. You guys remember when the lights would go out in your school? Remember that? Like in the 3rd grade, like when the lights would go out, it'd be like, boom, and kids would be like, ah! Ah! Like. Kids just lose it. It wasn't even dark. It was like 2 p.m. Sunlight's coming through the window. Kids just like, ah! 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 Like, just like losing their minds. And the same junk would happen when there was a fire drill, and the principal would come on and tell you there was gonna be a fire drill. Like, in 2 minutes, there's gonna be a fire drill. And be like, ah! Craziness. Kids aren't thinking. We had a teacher named Mr. Brown, right? We had a teacher named Mr. Brown, and he was writing something on the board once. He was writing something on the board, and he farted. And you would have thought kids had seen the face of God. Kids weren't even laughing. They were just sitting there, they're like, they're just like screaming, just screaming. Kids had to get carted out. Kids were screaming and crying, like kids had to get carted out. And they were going to like the nurse's office. Kids are crying in the hallway. This is like, oh, this is our 9/11, and it was. It was their 9/11, because they never thought anything like that could ever happen. Kids were all in the hallways giving interviews. They were like, oh my God, I remember, because I was talking to Bertram Harris, and he said if my hand was bigger than my face, then I had AIDS. So I put my hand in front of my face, and then he slammed it. It was a very funny joke. But then all of a sudden, we heard this sound from the front of the room, and it was Mr. Brown. And then Johnny Seawright stood up and said, Mr. Brown browned his pants. And that was even funnier. My heart goes out to the parents of the children who smelt the fart. Because that's even funnier than hearing it. Is there a God? You know?